Have you ever wondered what really happened on that fateful night of April 14th, 1912? While Hollywood has crafted a romantic narrative, the truth behind the Titanic disaster is a tale filled with heart-wrenching reality, panic, and survival. As the clock struck 11:40 p.m., a lookout named Frederick Fleet spotted an ominous figure in the distance, iceberg right ahead. He shouted, sending a wave of fear through the ship. The Titanic, deemed unsinkable, struck the iceberg and chaos erupted as water began flooding into the lower compartments where many third-class passengers were locked away. It became horrifyingly clear there weren't enough lifeboats for everyone aboard. The impact was far less dramatic than depicted in movies. In fact, many passengers barely noticed the collision. Some were deep in sleep, dreaming of the luxury that surrounded them, unaware of the disaster unfolding just beneath the surface. Below the waterline, however, the Titanic sustained a catastrophic injury, an enormous 300-foot gash. As the realization of the disaster sunk in, the crew sprang into action. Distress calls were sent out, but the rescue efforts were far from straightforward. The Hollywood version often simplifies this narrative, showing only the RMS Carpathia responding. In reality, several ships were nearby, including the SS Californian, which inexplicably failed to assist. Lifeboats began to be lowered at 12:45 a.m., prioritizing women and children, yet many were hesitant to board. The belief in the ship's unsinkability kept them rooted to the deck, frozen by denial. As lifeboats were launched into the icy waters, they often left partially filled. With only enough lifeboats for about half of the 2,200 passengers, the true scale of the tragedy began to unfold. The ship continued its descent into darkness, and as the lights flickered out, passengers found themselves engulfed in an inky blackness. This darkness was not just a lack of light, it was a tangible fear that obscured their understanding of the chaos around them. While movies often dramatize the breaking apart of the Titanic, the reality was less theatrical. The bow sank as the stern rose, creating immense pressure that ultimately caused the ship to break in two, likely at a much lower angle than portrayed on screen. Many passengers struggled to maintain their footing, sliding helplessly toward the frigid waters below. After the wreck was discovered in 1985, debates swirled regarding whether the Titanic had split apart or gone down intact. Some survivors claimed they witnessed the break, while others held steadfast to the myth of the ship's unsinkability. It was this very myth that contributed to the chaos and confusion during those final moments. Adding to the mystique of the tragedy is the iceberg itself, which likely originated from a small cluster of glaciers in southwest Greenland. Formed from snow that fell over 100,000 years ago, this massive iceberg weighed around 1.5 million tons, with over 100 feet towering above the waterline. Some researchers speculate that a rare supermoon may have played a role in the iceberg's swift drift southward, creating a perfect storm for disaster. Interestingly, the Titanic's demise has been linked to an eerie curse associated with a mummy. According to legend, a disturbed priestess's mummy found its way onto the ship, leading to the belief that it carried a curse. However, the real factors contributing to the Titanic's tragedy are still debated. Design flaws, poorly made rivets, and unsealed watertight bulkheads all come into play. Moreover, the crew faced an unfortunate lack of binoculars, which could have potentially helped them spot the iceberg in time. Locked away in a storage cabinet, the key was with a crew member who had been transferred just before the voyage. Additionally, a warning about nearby ice fields from the Californian never reached Captain Smith due to a breakdown in communication. As the ship sank beneath the waves, all passengers' belongings went down with it. For decades, these artifacts remained on the ocean floor, waiting to tell their stories. When the wreck was discovered, divers and submersibles unearthed treasures that gave us a glimpse into the lives lost that night. Among these artifacts were personal items that carried the weight of human stories. A pocket watch belonging to passenger John Chapman stopped at the moment the ship sank, forever marking the end of his honeymoon. A violin, played by a musician during the sinking, later sold for $1.7 million, a testament to the tragic beauty of that night. Love letters, a scout whistle, and even pieces of the grand staircase were recovered, painting a picture of life aboard the Titanic before the chaos. Amidst these artifacts, there are stories of messages and bottles, a testament to hope and connection. One such message, written by a young girl named Zoe, was discovered 23 years later by a couple in the Netherlands. Another, thrown into the sea by Francis Beck in 1987, found its way to a young boy named Daniel Cockate decades later. But perhaps the most haunting of all is the verified message in a bottle from the Titanic itself, penned by Jeremiah Burke. His farewell adds a poignant depth to the narrative of loss and longing that permeated that tragic night. In the wake of these stories, we find Arthur John Priest, a stoker who survived multiple maritime disasters, including the Titanic's sinking. His journey through bad luck and survival serves as a reminder of the fragility of life against the unpredictable backdrop of the sea. The story of the Titanic is more than a tale of tragedy, it's a reflection on humanity, survival, and the indomitable spirit of those who lived through that night. It urges us to look beyond the glamorization of Hollywood and acknowledge the heart-wrenching realities that lay beneath the surface. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.